right, thanks for coming tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed our online trading summit this last weekend. It was the first one that I was actually in San Francisco. I wasn't able to host it, so I felt a little bit bad about that, but I hear it was a great success. So I really appreciate you guys coming and the attendance, and we broke records and apparently broke the room a little bit. A lot of people couldn't get in, so that shouldn't be a problem tonight. There's plenty of room for everybody, and what I wanted to do was really kind of, we had some great speakers there, and all of them we've done work with to kind of get their methods into MetaStock. I wanted to kind of, now that we've kind of had a chance to kind of introduce you all to the speakers, to just sit down with you and show you exactly kind of what it means to have a MetaStock add-on, how they work within the product, and how everything works. So I'm really going to kind of try and balance my time with kind of both showing you what's included in the different add-ons and showing you specific examples of what it means that they are included. So we're going to start at Steve Bigalow, and I'm just going to go through kind of a little bit of an introduction to each one of them. We're going to work with actually showing you how the indicators work, how the scans work, what's included, and really kind of how to use them and how they're useful. So please let me know if you have questions as we go along. I'm going to kind of take my time, and hopefully I'll be able to kind of show you really how to use everything. To give you kind of some background on me in case you're not familiar with me, I've been working for MetaStock for 18 years. I think it's 19 years at the end of this month. I have to do the math on that. But it's been a great job. The first 10 years I worked for the company, I was in inside sales. So we talked to people about kind of how they're trading and what they want to improve, and about MetaStock and the products that we were offering back then. And it was a lot of fun. The last 10 years, I've helped kind of recruit the partners that we featured at the summit and turn their ideas into kind of MetaStock products, and that's been a lot of fun as well. I feel like I get to talk to a lot of people that I would assume are a lot better at trading and have some really good ideas, and it's been really helpful for me professionally as well as in my trading. A lot of the things that I've learned from the people that are up there on the screen right now are things that's been incredibly instrumental in helping me really take my trading to the next level. So let's go ahead and kind of fit the next one. I do have to read this disclaimer, so we'll get this out of the way. The demonstration today is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. Okay, cool. And a couple of things. 21 years in a row, MetaStock's been rated #1 here in the U.S., which we're pretty happy with. And we do have some abilities for you to get trials and that kind of stuff. But I really don't want to kind of make this an overly salesy experience for you. I do think you should get MetaStock. I think it's a great product. I wouldn't trade without it. What I really want to do, I know a lot of you, and I can tell just by your names, have MetaStock already. What I want to do is I kind of want to just kind of go through exactly what it means when we say this is an add-on for MetaStock, and what that entails, and how the scanning works, and really what's included with the different products. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Steve Bigalow is a very good technician and a very entertaining speaker. I'm sure he had plenty of jokes on Saturday for you guys. I've got all of his jokes memorized, and he's one of our most popular presenters by far. We spent a couple of years. A lot of if you're familiar with Steve's work at all, a lot of it has to do with like J-hook patterns and doji best friends and scoop patterns and dumple tops, and some of the things that he do are kind of visual in nature. His product, probably out of all of the products that we developed, took the longest because we had to figure out a way to take something that's very visual in nature. It's easy to kind of see when something has a saucer pattern or a frying pan bottom, but it's a little bit more difficult to code because you kind of have to kind of get really creative about how you're doing. But we basically spent a couple years really kind of sitting down, and it's been a great product. And we coded all of his patterns into stuff that you can now scan for in MetaStock, stuff that you can get advice based on in MetaStock, and stuff that will show up on your chart. So all in all, it's 4 explorations. I'm going to show you what those are in the product. 1 expert advisor. Actually, there's a few different layouts and 20 different patterns that are looked for in the software. Those patterns are going to be like right here on the screen for you. Anything from like fry pans to J-hooks to bullish kickers to the bearish flutter kick. Those are the things that we've created the technology to actually scan for. And let me show you, we're going to kind of switch back and forth between PowerPoint to kind of show you what that means when you kind of take it and make it into a product, and what I mean when I say an expert advisor or an exploration or a scan or a layout. And so let me go ahead and drag. I was doing a little bit of prep work to get ready on the other screen. Let me pull my MetaStock over here. Now this is a company called Spectra Energy CP, and I found it just because I did a scan. I wanted to find something that had an actionable signal today. In this case, I did a scan for and found that this one had a dumpling top. Okay, and you look at just a few days ago, it had a bull kicker up here. It had some bear kickers and a doji at the top that worked out really well. So as we scroll back, here was a belt hold that looks like it would have worked out. This was a bear kicker that worked out really well. But as you scroll back and forth through the charts, you can be able to see, or you'll be able to see where different patterns came in, and those will be identified on the chart for you. My phone just made a big noise. Okay, so those automatically label out. If you're a fan of Steve's work, or if you've gone to his free trading room, or his trading room, it's not a free trading room, but you do get a free trial with it. But he uses a lot of different moving averages and a stochastic, so we've got those applied to the chart as well. The other thing I really like about this is now we've got everything identified and labeled. The other thing that we try and do is for those of you that may not be familiar with Steve and what he does, what we try and do is kind of help you understand exactly what the pattern is. And I wouldn't say this is a replacement for his room. I'd say it's a great addition to kind of some of the things that he does. But so, for example, like if I wanted to know what this dumpling top meant, if I click on the View menu here in MetaStock, I can open up an expert commentary. And I'm just going to make this kind of fat and bigger. So I'm just going to go ahead and resize it so that you can see it a little bit better. And because I ran this scan for this particular pattern, it's going to be a dumpling top right here, and basically it's going to give you a description of what this pattern is. This is a visually bearish trading pattern, and it captures the psychology behind the price movement as a slow rounding behind top illustrates indecisive trading. You should exit on any trading above the rounded trajectory that formed the dumpling top. So what it's saying is you can go ahead and take a short. If the stock comes back and retraces to above where it actually rounded up at the top here, then you'd go ahead and get out of the trade. Because it was a little bit scientific, what we did was we put in the actual criteria that we're looking at. This is what we're looking for to label this on the chart. So you can kind of look at it, look at the criteria, and just make sure that you agree that that's the dumpling top that we're using. And then we have some more information in the commentary down below. And with this commentary, it's always going to default as we go through these different expert advisors today. It's always going to default to that latest day. But if I wanted to see the advice that happened back here on the doji at the top, for example, I can always go back in time and just highlight that doji at the top, and it's going to ignore this data that comes in afterwards and tell us, okay, the doji at the top followed a gap down. Traders can go short after this doji at the top followed by a bearish gap down, etc., etc., etc. With this one's actually a pretty good one to show you, because sometimes when you do a scan, you'll have a lot of different patterns that actually show up on the chart. And so what we've done in some of the cases is actually tell you the things to look for. We call them enhancements to the pattern. So if we ran a scan for doji tops and we're trying to pick between 6 or 7 of them, we'll be looking for the one that had the further away from the doji from the exponential moving average, the higher the probability a reversal has occurred. And if the doji gapped down below the T-line or crosses the tree line, the higher the probability of a strong downtrend. So we've put in some advice so you don't have to necessarily go, okay, I got my doji at the top signal, what does that mean, and pull out a manual, which is included, but we've tried to kind of make it, kind of have the user manual right there and the interface right there for you to be able to use this as a product that can work with you. James asked a great question. Is this going to be recorded? And I'm going to say yes. I'm actually recording this so that I can upload it and should have that available tomorrow. I'll send you the link. Panil asked, of the Summit traders who we featured, who is the most successful? I've only seen brokerage statements for a couple of them, and when I do look at people's brokerage statements, it could have been years ago, so I'm not really going to answer that question, Panil. But we only really pick people that have really good track records, and we have a whole diligence process that we follow before we decide to use people and to work with them. So we fully vet the people that we work with. I've been in the industry for about for 20 years almost. I know the people that have been around a while. What I do when I'm looking to kind of partner up with people and get their methodologies in MetaStock is I go and look for the best. I go look at the people that are ranked top market timers and that have been in the business for a while and that are really, really well established. So all of them are really good in my opinion, but I'm not going to pick a best. So I hope that's a fair way to answer that question, or a favorite anyway. I'm not going to pick a favorite, but I actually have a pretty good relationship with most of the people that we had at the summit because we spent a lot of time developing things like this for them. And if they weren't good, we wouldn't have featured them, to say the least. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of show you what a scan would look like or how a scan would run. This kind of gives you an idea. Okay, we can go in here. And to get to this view, really what I did is I applied his template. And to do that, all you do is open up your chart and then just right-click here and go to Apply Template. And we'll go to Bigalow. His is named as Bigalow. So if I go down to the B's here, and there I've got a lot of them in here. I thought it was Bigalow. I just found it. Let me make this a little bit bigger so I can find it. Maybe it's not showing up because I've already got it applied. But you'd apply the Bigalow chart view, and that would go ahead and bring up all of the indicators and things like that for you. So in essence, that's what we're doing with the product. We're actually showing you all the tops that were there and all the patterns that are there. And those will be identified as soon as you open up a chart. You just apply the expert advisor and it'll show you kind of where everything comes in there. Okay, scanning. So with all of the experts, we also have add-ons. We have scanning. And so if I open up the Power Console here is where we'd open up a chart. And that's really, really easy to do. You type in your symbol, you find it on a list, and go ahead and open it up. Scanning is, we call it exploring, is right here. So if I wanted to find the Bigalow patterns on a chart, what I would do is I go ahead and click on the scan field. And then I'm just going to go ahead and find the CPS scan that I wanted to run. So here's the list of the scans that are available. I've got a lot of add-ons installed over the years. There's really 4 scans here. Right? And basically we've kind of broken them up by patterns. So if you want to look for a doji dynamite, that would be doji at the top, or the doji best friend, or the left-right bullish combo, or the left-right bearish combo, or a series of doji. You'd run all of those patterns through this scan, this doji dynamite. The J-hooks would find your J-hooks, your 5-pound bottoms. Your power signals would find your bearish kicker, your bearish flutter kick, your bullish kickers, and your bullish flutter kick. And then the price patterns would be like the fry pan. That's the one I actually ran. So what I would do to run a scan, just for you, those of you that are a little bit newer to MetaStock, is you select the scan that you want to find. I'm going to go ahead and grab this Doji Dynamite just to show you. And I'd come down here and find the list that I wanted to scan against. And we've got, just to kind of show you how the tree view looks, I'm going to go ahead and unmark that. We'll have all of the markets listed. And so for Australia, I know that Panil was interested in Australia, if we kind of click on here, we could go ahead and scan the Australian securities or your Australian ETFs. For those of you that are kind of in North America, we just go ahead and click on here, and you can scan either all of the optionable stocks by clicking right there, or the ETFs, or the NYSE, or the NASDAQ, whatever you wanted to do. And you could just say, okay, well, I want to do New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ and AMEX, and just do these ones, and then you could go ahead and start your scan. I'm not going to scan that many because it takes a little bit of time, and I have a lot of material I want to kind of talk you through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the index constituents here. And just to show you how the scan works, we're going to go ahead and just find maybe the Dow. Let's do the S&P 500 right here. We'll do the 500 stocks in the S&P 500. You go ahead and start your exploration. It's going to go through. I'm running this on a daily basis, but you can use other time frames if you want. And it's just going to go through and identify out of those stocks, out of those 500 stocks, which have those patterns that are match into the product. So I'm going to go ahead and I might let it run. It's about halfway done right now. That's what we're going to kind of be looking for. James was like, oh, it's under there. He was helping me find the thing. If you guys do have questions, let me know. Okay, and so running through those, out of the S&P 500, Doji Dynamite signals would be GameStop and AutoNation. Okay, and the way that you tell which pattern came up, we're looking for Doji Top. That wasn't found there. AutoNation would be the Doji Best Friend. You see where it says Doji Best Friend? And then this would be a left-right bearish kick for GameStop. So we could go ahead and open up either one of those, take a look at it. I am going to go ahead and open up the chart for AutoNation. We'll scroll in a little bit here. And then now I'm not looking at that view, so what I want to do is I want to attach that expert advisor we were talking about and apply all the indicators so I can look at it with the correct analyses attached. So I'll just go ahead and click on Apply Template, and I'm going to go ahead and look at the CPS Bigalow. Now we do have two different templates you can use. We have Bigalow Chart View Futures and Bigalow Chart View. So if you want to do it with futures, there's some small differences between the two templates. Use this template. I think the big differences are the moving averages that Steve uses. With the chart view, since this is a stock, we'll go ahead and apply this one, and this will apply it'll tell us about this Doji Best Friend, and again you can kind of look at all the patterns that have happened in the past to kind of get a feel for how well it works with AutoNation. So using them together, the MetaStock's a great tool for us to kind of be able to kind of identify, using what these experts teach, exactly stocks that they might be talking about or that they might be interested in, or the ones that meet the criteria for their signals that day. So that's kind of to give you a good idea of how things work. I'm looking at the time, and we're about 20 minutes in, and that was exactly how long I wanted to spend on Steve. So do you guys have any questions so far? Is everything clear? And please do let me know if you have questions that come in. If not, I'm going to move into the next add-on to kind of show you what's included with that. So in this particular case, just to kind of go back to what was included and how it works, let me go back into the PowerPoint. Went to the wrong one. Okay, so it's got the 4 explorations, allow you to find all the patterns that you want in whatever market that you want. It's got 1 expert advisor, 2 layouts, and the 20 different patterns. To show you the patterns again, those are the patterns that we're looking for. They're all the major ones that he teaches about. And it's a great product. It's actually been very, very successful. I'd say it's probably one of our most successful products. Cool. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about, this one's probably a little bit more of the different ones. Obviously, everybody knows John Bollinger and Bollinger on Bollinger Bands. But John Bollinger is obviously very famous in the industry, so we're glad we were able to kind of get him in and to talk a little bit about what he does and that kind of stuff. With his, the Bollinger Band Toolkit contains is kind of a supplement or a guidebook to his book. In his book, he's got a book called Bollinger on Bollinger Bands. It's a fantastic book. You should pick it up if you haven't already. But he talks about all kinds of different formulas and systems that are discussed in his book. You probably want to pick up a copy to use the add-on because he goes into a lot of really good detail about the formulas and the systems and kind of how they work and that kind of stuff. This one contains about 42 different indicators, 3 chart templates, 9 example systems, 6 explorations, and 4 experts. And we're certainly not going to go into kind of like everything that he talks about, but I just want to kind of give you an idea of how everything would work and how you would use it. So let's go ahead and switch back into MetaStock. And I think what I'm going to do for this one is we'll go ahead and just close down this chart. And I've got a lot of charts open, so I'm going to kind of close down a few charts and just show you all the indicators that are in there, give you a couple of ideas of how the scans work and that kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and let me do this the fast way instead of the hard way. I'll just close all of them all at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and open up a chart of Dow, or DIA, which is one of my favorite instruments, the one I trade. I'm going to go ahead and open up a chart. And I'm just going to go ahead and close the commentary window here. So here is Dow. On a weekly basis, let me go ahead and change that back to daily. So with MetaStock, it's a fairly easy platform to use. If you kind of make a mistake, like you didn't want a weekly chart and you got one anyway, you can go ahead and click right here, push it to daily, and very easy. So obviously we've had some pretty interesting times in the Dow, another down day. Pretty crazy. I'm going to go ahead and delete this item off the chart here and just scroll in a little bit by going like this. With this one, since it is a lot more indicator driven, I mean there's 30 or 42 different indicators in there, you'll spend a lot of time kind of playing with the indicators that are there. So I'm just going to go ahead and select down our indicator quick list here. This lists all the indicators that are available in MetaStock. Now if I come down here a little bit, I'm going to find the ones that say BBTK. That stands for Bollinger Band Toolkit. So here we've got auto width, Bollinger Bands, back in, bandwidth, upper lower middle bands, Bollinger Bands, breakout. All of the stuff that he talks about are going to be different indicators that you can use and that you can apply. So let's go ahead and apply just a Bollinger Band to this chart. I'm going to go ahead and just drag it onto the chart, and we'll leave it at kind of the default parameters of 20 and 2. And I'm certainly not going to be within the scope of like explaining the whole book to you, but I can kind of talk a little bit about some of the methods that he uses. One of them is where he looks for the Bollinger Bands to get squeezed and to get very, very tight with regard to how they're looking over time. And another one is a Bollinger Band bulge method. And certainly you can use all these indicators. If we wanted to recolor some of these, I want to change the color of the band, you can. So I'm going to change the middle band here. But again, with MetaStock, what you get is a very good prospecting tool. In addition to all of the advice and all of the commentary and all the stuff that's in it, you have the ability to run these scans. And that's where I absolutely love MetaStock, because it does such a good job of saving you time. So for example, if I wanted to find something that had penetrated the band and came back in, or something that was in a squeeze, or something that was bulged out, instead of going through and kind of cycling through all the charts one at a time, I can go in, and using the Bollinger Band Toolkit, we can scan for those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the Power Console here. I'm going to go to the Explorer, and everything in here is going to start with a BBTK, so for Bollinger Band Toolkit. And we'll talk about Big Trend Toolkit, which is BBTK, in a minute. That's another one of my favorites. But let's go ahead and do one of the scans. So if I wanted to find something that was below the lower band, I could go ahead and run this scan. If I wanted to find something that went out of the band and came back in, I could run this back in from below, or back in from above, or above the band, or below the lower band, or of course the bulge and the squeeze pattern. So again, the process is the same. You just kind of decide the scan that you want. You can, by the way, select multiple ones just by clicking on the ones that you want to run. We'll only run one for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do the BBTK squeeze. I'm going to go ahead and then we'll go ahead and move this up so we can kind of see the instrument. And we'll just do the S&P 500. And you'll notice with 14 it remembers the list that we scanned against last time. So if you're always running the same sets of scans, you can just go ahead and come in here every day or every time you want to run your scan and just click Start Exploration. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be looking for John Bollinger's squeeze play. So it's going to go through and find those for us. And again, you'll notice it's pretty fast. It's actually slower when I broadcast than when you're doing it live, because obviously broadcasting takes bandwidth, and quite a bit of it. If I was running this without broadcasting, it would probably be complete by now and would be looking at the report. Well, or at least I would. You wouldn't be. So it's going through again. The things that I like, it's rejecting 91% of the stocks. So out of 100 stocks, now I'm looking at 8 or 9 to kind of determine my favorites instead of all 500. And that's where you use technology to save time. And really kind of isn't that way. Technology is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and pop the GoToWebinar so I can see the questions that are coming in. James said, asked a question. While this is finishing up, I'll go ahead and answer James's question. He said, you had 7 people talking, but I haven't received the summit recordings. So if you go here, I'll just send this to everybody. It's metastock.com/summit-archives. Is the link, and that'll take you to all of the sessions that we've done, including the new ones and both of the summits from last year too. So plenty of video to go through here. There's the link. Hopefully I typed it in right. There's the link for all of the 7 recordings. And hopefully all you guys can see that. I sent an email this morning with it in there as well, but I sent 2 versions because our email software was not getting along with me today. So Bill asks, if you click multiple scans, do you get results that satisfy only the multiple scan, or do you get cumulative results? Bill, I'm going to answer that question in just a second. Actually, it's a very good question. Bill asks, why are there 2, or Stephen asks, why are there 2 explorations? Well, actually, there's 4 in this particular product. There's, let me go ahead and click on the report screen here. These would be the scans. Actually, I ran 2 explorations. That's why 2 were selected. I ran the squeeze, and I still had that CPS one that I just ran there. Now, to answer your question, Bill, if you select multiple explorations, like if I was to select all of those, there are ways to hand it shows. Right here you'll see where it says multiple exploration options. You can either use the results from the preceding exploration and then feed them in. So you could use one as a filter exploration and feed only the ones that worked to the next exploration. You could use the selected instruments for all explorations, and that would allow you to scan the S&P 500 each time. Or you can use the explorations previously selected instruments. So those are the 3 options. The answer is yes to your question to both ways. It's either cumulative results or overlapped results, depending on what option you select right there. Okay? Good question. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and open up the report for the squeeze. And this is what this one would look like. This is telling you exactly what the bandwidth is, that it's in a squeeze pattern, and what the close price was. So it's basically going to tell you, it's going to allow you to basically, now we can actually rank on these scans too. So if we wanted to find the ones that had the tightest bandwidth, I could select this column, and Hospira right now has a bandwidth that's only 0.79 from the bottom to the top. Torchmark has a 0.19 between the bottom and the top, and Pepco has 2. So you can actually rank them and sort them based on what you're looking to follow. Okay, that page doesn't seem to have the latest. Okay, let me go ahead and look at this real quick. I did send out an incorrect link today. So, and I apologize for that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just come to it real quick. We'll make sure that everybody has the correct link. It's Summit-Archives. And you should see spring, fall, and spring. So we've done 3 of them. This is our 3rd summit. The spring one should be the page that loads. If you're coming to that actual link, which I think is the one I just put on there, it is, and you don't see spring, try refreshing your browser. In Chrome, you just hit reload and see if they show up. This one will have all 3 sessions, so this will have all the speakers on there. Stephen, that's a good point. Stephen said, bandwidth should be a percentage of the absolute price. I believe it might be, but I'm not sure. I'd have to actually look at the manual to tell you that for certain or not. This says bandwidth here. Let's go ahead and open one up. Maybe we can figure that out without looking at the manual. Let me go ahead and open. I didn't bring the manual into the webinar room with me, but let me go ahead and open up the chart, and we'll use the bandwidth indicator and maybe uh-oh. I broke it. Let me go ahead and restart here. I think I really need to reboot my computer. Okay. And the question was, bandwidth should be a percentage of the absolute price. You may be, that may be what we're listing there. I'm not exactly sure. With this one, I didn't help design it, so let me go ahead and look at this report again. And what I'm going to do is actually just open up Hospira. Something is up today. All right, we're just going to open up Hospira and then apply the bandwidth indicator to it because it's not liking that for some reason. Meta. And I've had some pretty weird issues today. You're welcome, Tim. I'm glad that worked for you, and I apologize for the incorrect link. That was totally my fault. So let's just go ahead and open up Hospira. I'm just going to kind of skip that report. I don't know if it's giving me some issues because I'm doing the demo, but what I'm going to do, also, I'm just going to search by the name. I remember it was called Hospira. It had a bandwidth of about 0.9, if I remember right. So we can open that up. Here it is on a weekly basis. I'm going to change that again down to a daily basis. And then I'm going to apply the bandwidth indicator from the Bollinger Band Toolkit. And we'll see it. I believe it is represented in percentage. BBTK. There it is. Let's go ahead and drag that indicator on there. I'll go ahead and click OK. And it does look to me, and we do see that squeeze in the pattern, and it is reporting back 9. So I'm going to say that I believe that it is expressed as a percentage, but that's just a belief at this point. Peter asks, is the squeeze available in BTK2? There's a lot of alliteration that is involved in there. Squeeze is a scan that you can do, and just to show you that list of scans that are available, come back in here, and we actually did the bulge. But there's the squeeze right there. So yeah, the squeeze is one that you can actually run. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much that toolkit. Really with that one, if you're a fan of Bollinger, I mean obviously Bollinger is a fantastic technician, and we love working with him. It's all of the indicators that he uses in Bollinger Band Toolkit. So it's got the 9 example systems, it's got 6 explorations, it's got some expert advisors that actually come in there. You can go in and test the systems to see which ones work and what stocks that they work on, which I'll talk a little bit more in the price Headley demo and how that works, because I'm trying to kind of blend this for you guys. So I'm trying to talk a lot about what's included in all of these great expert systems, but I'm also trying to kind of show you how this would work in MetaStock as well. So let's kind of move on. And this one's actually a pretty cheap add-on. It's $300 one-time cost. So Price Headley, I would say, is one of my favorite technicians, and I understand he did a great job on Saturday as well. He's one of the first projects that I worked on, so I have to say that I'm very, very biased towards Price. I coded a lot of the initial work that we did to kind of make Big Trend Toolkit a reality. And the reason that I recruited Price, and the reason we really like to work with Price, is he's consistently been in the market. He's for long periods of time. At one point, he had been the top market timer, according to Timer Digest, for a number of years. He's inducted into the Traders Hall of Fame, and he's written a lot of really good strategies. His psychology, I would say, the psychology he uses around trading has helped me immensely, not only in my option trading, but also in just life. A lot of the things that he looks at and the things that he looks for in a trade is he likes to say, there's 3,500 stocks. Now, there's 4,500 optionable stocks, and he's an optionable trader. There's trading opportunities in the market everywhere. And what I want to do as a trader is to skip some of the decent opportunities to find some of the really big trends in the marketplace. And the systems that he does are very much designed to kind of find stuff that is accelerating into trends, things that have been in a trend but seem to be accelerating into that trend and moving up rapidly. And it's a great philosophy. Let's focus on the stuff that works and ignore the stuff that doesn't work, but really take our bat and swing as hard as we can into the opportunities that work. And that's really one of the things that have made him such a incredible market timer. And I have a lot of respect for Price. I feel like he's a friend of mine. And, we worked on this add-on for a long time, but I really love his kind of mental attitude when it comes to trading. And a lot of the things that I learned from Price have actually allowed me to focus on opportunities like putting on summits that are going to be huge. And, he's helped, his mentality around options is something that can be used all around life. I know I just probably, let me get off of how much I love Price. I'll get done with my man crush. In his add-on, we spent probably a few months, quite a few months actually, pulling together an add-on that kind of goes into the strategies that he uses in his advisory services and in his coaching. And from that, we came up with a very specific indicators, all of the indicators he uses. Some of those rely on Bollinger Bands and acceleration bands, and he's got an option chart system. Expert advisors that kind of give detailed setup some commentaries. Of course, scanning and system testing are very, very important as well. And let's go ahead and just play with them a little bit and kind of show you exactly, with this commentary, I think we did a really good job with it, because we tell you not only in his add-on what you should do, why you're getting the signal, what options you should be looking at, and it's very, very specific. So let's go ahead and just pull open a symbol, and we'll start with the commentary. I think we did an awesome job with the commentary, and this has been a very fantastic seller too. People love this thing. So let me go ahead, I don't know, let's open up Apple. I'm kind of curious as to Apple. I don't look at Apple every day. It always seems to be in a different place when I look at it. So let me go ahead and close this out. I've got an expert on here already, but this is just this is our built-in candlestick expert. So next time I open up a chart, what I'm going to do is actually change it to daily, so I don't have to keep changing it from daily to weekly. I'm going to go ahead and just actually go to the expert advisor. This is our built-in candlestick expert. It's just showing us engulfing bowls and rising windows and that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go into the expert advisor, and we're going to kind of look at the advisors that are in there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Attach right here. And again, you could also apply the templates. If we come down to, if we come down here to BBTK, that would be Bollinger Band Toolkit. So I'm going to come down to BTTK, which is stands for Big Trend Toolkit by Price Headley. And these are the different systems that we've done. He's got indicator that he's written called the acceleration bands, and it looks for what we were talking about before with the acceleration into a trend. He's got an efficiency system that looks at not only is something moving, but is it moving efficiently? Is it going to, like for example, with that indicator, if it moves 10 points every day for 10 days, it would have a perfect efficiency. So it looks at how efficiently something is moving into a trend. And there's combinations of the system, like the option shark or the percentage above the 200-day moving average, and there's quite a few. There's about 14 systems. We did a Williams %R retest as part of Bollinger Band Toolkit number 2, or I'm sorry, Big Trend Toolkit number 2. So there's about 14 systems in here. Right here, I'm very familiar with acceleration bands and Bollinger Bands, so I'm going to actually attach the acceleration band system here. And I haven't looked at this in Apple, so I don't know what it's going to look like, but it actually kind of looks pretty good. We would have gotten a buy on Apple here. We would have gotten an exit here. We've got a buy here, and we've got an exit here. And to give you an idea of what the commentary would look like when you get this, remember when we design the product, we want to not only give you the buy and sell signals, but kind of inform you as much as possible. I'm a big fan of commentary when we write products because I want to tell you why that signal's on the chart. I want to tell you as much as I can in a succinct way about why it's being generated. But I also want to give you some very specific and actionable advice on how you could take advantage of that opportunity if you wanted to. Okay, so and that's really where the commentary comes into play. I just love the commentary in MetaStock. I'm going to go ahead and dock this one off. And like when we were talking about with the Big Trend Toolkit, it's going to default to this last trading day. And we really don't have an acceleration opportunity here. So on this particular day, it's really just going to tell you a little bit about the system. The acceleration band system was designed by Price Headley. It's designed to highlight strong accelerating trends, which show the potential for dramatic price movements over relatively short periods, usually 1 to 20 days. So we're telling you kind of how long you're going to be in a trade. And we're kind of giving you a little bit of information. Underneath, we kind of talk a little bit and put some links off to his website, talk about his Timer Digest awards and that kind of stuff. Now back here, though, if you would have run a scan and found Apple on your scan list back on the 5th, we would have had more information about what to do with that trade. So let me go ahead and kind of move back to that day. I'm just going to click on the signal here. And we'll go forward 1 day. I missed it by 1 day. We'll go ahead and click on forward to 1 day. And so now we've ran that scan. We're kind of new to the Price Headley's methodologies. And here's what it's going to tell us. It's going to tell us the acceleration band system is currently indicating a long opportunity. If this bar's close and the prior bar's close are both greater than the 20-bar acceleration band, then this is considered a buy signal. And that's why you're getting it on the chart. And actually, if I wanted to, I could apply the Bollinger Band, or the Big Trend. Maybe I should not do Bollinger Band and Big Trend at the same time. It's too similar. Let's go ahead and apply the 20-period days. And so what you're seeing here is on the upper band, the close was above yesterday and today. That's what generated our signal. That's what generated it a couple of days ago. Okay, so now what it's saying is if you're interested in taking advantage of the opportunity, we never say you should buy this or you should sell this because that's kind of getting into a legal gray area, but if you're interested in taking advantage of the opportunity, you could buy the stock. If you're an option trader, you can consider buying a call option in the second expiration month. These signals can last from 1 to 20 days. Very aggressive option traders will typically look at a call options one strike out of the money or near the money around the current stock price. You should look for a cost of $200 or less, while conservative option traders should consider the call option with more intrinsic value, usually 1 strike in the money. So it's really giving you some pretty good advice in terms of what to do with this stuff. And in addition to that, we tell you when to get out of it. You should look to get out of the trade when this happens. Any futures bar is less than the upper 20-bar band, which is why we got out here. Or any bar closes under the 10-period exponential moving average. Or if you're 2 weeks before expiration day. While the most conservative exit strategies are effective, we found that a more adaptive exit that enables more flexibility in price movements in an acceleration back, the exit signal will be generated based on the 10-day exponential moving average. So they're even giving you, okay, here's some exit ideas. What we find works best is the 10-day exponential moving average. And again, what we're trying to do is help you understand the system. I've always thought that the ability to test trading ideas and kind of figure out something that works is never a replacement for education. You definitely need to understand what you're doing and understand where your stops need to be and all that kind of good stuff. Bill T asks, how long after a bar closes does a bar buy-sell signal appear? Does it wait for the bar to close? Bill, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. It's one I should answer. It will appear immediately. As soon as you have a close price that's above, in this case, on this day, you're going to get that signal. Now, it would be advisable to wait until pretty close to the close of that bar to buy that stock, because here's a great example. We closed barely above, which was an effective signal, but it very easily the bar could have pulled back during the day and not giving us a signal. And I hate it when you buy on a signal and the signal goes away, because you don't really, well, should I get out? Should I hold on to it? What should I do with this thing? So I would wait until probably, I'm very much a day trader, or a daily trader. I was going to say a day trader, but that's not the case at all. I usually put in any of the orders that I want to do right around 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, just before, because the market closes around 2:30 Mountain Time. So that allows me to kind of make sure that the signal still looks legit, and I'm not trying to second guess it the next day. I hate that emotional game. If I got into a trade and now I shouldn't have, what do? Do I kind of ride it out and see how it goes? I like to wait until pretty close to the end of the bar. Good question. It will appear immediately. You should probably wait until the close of the bar. And if you apply anything that I'm showing you, we're working mostly with daily bars, but if you have MetaStock RT, you can do it to 30 and 60 and that kind of stuff as well. So. Kurt says, I have the original BTTK. Is there a special upgrade price for BBTK 2? No, there isn't a special upgrade price. What you need to do is call one of our sales guys, Kurt, and actually just ask him to send you a replacement disc for Big Trend Toolkit number 2, and they'll charge you like $10 plus shipping. It'll end up costing you $14. How's that for an upgrade price? Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay. James asked another question, and I'm just kind of taking a look at the time real quick. We need to move a little bit quicker. But James says, can the software be used with Forex? Yes. And to kind of talk about market depth, all of our data that we get is from Reuters, or now I should say Thomson Reuters, because they've been owned by they've been a combined company for a while now. But we actually cover about 95% of the global market cap. So that we get a lot of customers in Australia, Singapore, India is really good right now, and you can use it in just about anywhere. James asks, this is a software, right, not a brokerage account, and that is correct, James. It's a software program. It's a standalone software program. I personally use TD Ameritrade for my trades. That's not a recommendation by any means. That's just who I'm using. I like their mobile app. It's easier to trade on than I would say their site's terrible. But their mobile app is really, really cool. It's kind of funny. I get my signals out of MetaStock, and then I open up my, I grab my cell phone and place my trades on even if I'm right at my computer, I place all of my trades on the app. So, but that's not necessarily a recommendation to open an account with TD Ameritrade. We don't have anything officially associated with them. It's just who I use to trade. Okay. Peter says that he paid a little bit more in shipping for Toronto, and they charged him $20, which is a little bit high. I'm going to go refund that $20 for you, but the $35 to Toronto isn't something I can do anything about for you, Peter. You're welcome, James. Okay, let's kind of move on a little bit more. There is also with this and a lot of the systems I'm showing the ability to do system testing. So, and that means I could come in here and I'm just going to pick one of them real quick. Let's do the Bollinger Band Toolkit. So, or let's do the Big Trend Toolkit because that's the subject that we're on. But let's say we wanted to find stocks that work really good with the efficiency ratio. And again, to keep things kind of easy, I'm just going to do a real quick basket here. I can get an idea using a system test how well a system is going to work. And you'll see here, I was talking about the market depth. We have all of these stocks in Asia, Europe, North America, whatever you want. And it's been really, really a pretty good relationship for us. If I wanted to do a test to see, okay, I really like this efficiency ratio, and I wanted to test it against like all the optional stocks to maybe build something to trade off with it, you could do that. What I'm going to do is, instead of doing that, just to kind of give you the idea here, is I'm going to come in here and test it against maybe the S&P 100. I'm going to tie this down to about a year of data. You can go back as far as you want in your testing. But what I'm going to do is the software is going to do this for me. It's going to go in and find out of the 101 stocks that are out there how well, if you took every buy signal and every sell signal using the efficiency system, how well they performed and which stocks they worked the best off. And quicker than I could really explain it, it's done. And in this particular case, it's saying Intel would be the best. And it only took 4 trades, but it would have netted about 14% based on that system. So it allows you to kind of figure out how well the method works and what stocks they work really, really well with. And unfortunately, we're running a little bit low on time, and I kind of maybe bit off more than I could chew here with kind of going through all of them. But again, I think we're kind of getting some good ideas in terms of really what an add-on is and what they include. Big Trend Toolkit tool. Again, he's been in the market for longer than I have, actually. And just a top market timer. It's so nice to be able to kind of pick up all of the stuff. Here's a listing out of the indicators that are in there. These are the different systems, which means system means they'll have scans and expert advisors and system tests. And let's go ahead and talk real quickly about Chuck Hughes. And Chuck Hughes is another person that actually he has a bit of a newer product for us. We released his product while I was living in California, which would have been a couple years ago, and had the chance to meet him in person. He used to work for the Air Force, so we had a little bit of stuff to talk about. And he's somebody, again, that's been an international trading contest winner 7 times in a row. And the strategy that he looks for is very, very specific and he's looking for something that's trended up about 6 months, pulled back to the middle or lower of a Keltner channel, and then he looks for it to kind of resume that trend up. The way he describes it, and you really need to go through his video, is he's looking for stocks that are at a bargain price that have had a good trend. So in his particular add-on, he does have an expert advisor. It does issue he does have scans as well, and it issues probability buy signals. So he's got a 3-step process. You can see it right there on the print. Determine the price trend. You always hear people say the trend is your friend, or befriend the trend, or things like that. What he's looking for in his case of a trend is the stock 50-day exponential moving average is above the 100-day moving average. So it's very, very easy to calculate. So the 50 above the 100. Then he confirms the price trend, and he only looks at stocks that have hit a new 52-week high within the last 8 weeks of trading. And that have higher on-balance volume than it was 6 months ago. And then he looks for a high probability entry, and that's what he's looking for, it to get below the middle or lower Keltner channel after it makes that 52-week high. So in that particular case, he also has a very specific suggested exit guidelines, as you can kind of see in the commentary over here. He looks to sell 10 or 15 at one point, 10 to 15 at another point, etc., etc., etc. So let's go ahead and, again, I could come in here, and this would probably be a very good workflow, is for him I'd go in and find the Chuck Hughes high probability system or the basic system, and they're very, very similar. I asked the programmer really what the difference was, and they had added some things to the high probability system. I called it the high probability system. I don't remember exactly what his answer was for that, but they're very, very similar in nature. And we could go ahead and run that, and we could start a scan, and it would find stocks that meet all three of those criteria for us. And yeah, let's go ahead and do it. That way I can show you an example in real time, and it shouldn't take too long. I don't want to go too much over my time, but we have plenty of time. So, I mean, we don't have plenty of time, but we have a little bit of time. So let's just do the S&P 100. My only concern here is that we won't find a match. So it's going to run fairly quickly. It's almost done, but my concern is that we may not find a match with it. I had two selected too, and it's running a different one. So let me go ahead and cancel that. We did not find a match for that particular scan. So let me just show you the expert. I'm trying to think of one of the examples that he used in his slideshow last week, but let's just go ahead and do Apple. Why not? And we're already on Apple. So if I wanted to apply his template, we could. I'm just going to basically throw his expert advisor on here, and that way we can kind of go through exactly kind of how it looks on the chart. I'm going to do the high probability one. We'll go ahead and close that. This one does take a few minutes to load based on kind of the way that it's written and kind of what it's doing. It does a lot of things under the hood, particularly the high probability one. So we'll give it a little bit of time to load in, and we'll take a look at it. Bill asked a question, does Chuck Hughes add-on include programming for any of his option strategies? I want to be careful about the way that I answer it so that it's accurate, Bill. So really kind of the scan that he's looking for is he's looking for stocks that have fit exactly that criteria we were talking about before. So those are the kind of the main play that he looks for. What we're going to be doing with MetaStock always, and about 40% of our traders use options, I'm one of them, but we're going to be looking for the stocks that have set that high, where the 50 is above the 100-day moving average, and that have come back to a lower Keltner band. Those are the stocks that we're going to be looking for. It is going to tell you when you do that, and I think I broke MetaStock. I'm going to go ahead and wait a second while what it's going to give you is a list of stocks that you could buy, and then you can kind of pick your favorites based on the rules or that kind of thing. It's also going to tell you when you should get out of 15% of your position and then 50. And he has some exit rules that kind of cascade. You should exit partially a position here, a partial position here, and a partial position there. That's a really, really good question, and I think I just broke MetaStock, so we're going to kind of that's a very good question. Kurt asked a question, which of these add-ons have open source strategy? In other words, which one can I go in and manipulate, work with, add, edit, that kind of stuff? CPS is locked, so Steve Bigelow's is locked. Not really because we wanted to lock it, but mostly because we're using a lot of DLL calculations in it, meaning even if we left it open, it wouldn't be that helpful for you. So CPS is locked. Bollinger Band Toolkit is open. You can go in and edit all of those ones. Big Trends Toolkit is open. So all of the indicators and all of that kind of stuff is totally available. Chuck Hughes is locked, again, mostly because of a DLL, and Barry Burns is locked, again, mostly because of a DLL. So I've got MetaStock restarted. With the Chuck Hughes add-on, it is going to give you kind of the exact exit and entry rules and tell you exactly how to get in and out of a stock. And just for the purpose of time, I'm going to move on to kind of explain a little bit of the Barry Burns toolkit and what that is. So Barry's one of our newest products. We just released his product back in November, and it was a lot of work as well. We really kind of push the envelope in what we can do with MetaStock and kind of some of the drawing tools that he wants, and it's a very, very cool product. People that are his students love the fact that they could now scan for momentum, strengths, and cycle rhythms, and support energies, and that kind of stuff. He uses a 5-energy method. He uses trend, momentum, cycles, support and resistance, and scale. Those are the things that he's looking for in his trade. And the thing that I like about this particular methodology is these are all different things that he's looking at to get a trade. These methods were chosen because they're significant, and all of his energies are not correlated or loosely correlated to the other 4 energies. So those are the things that he's looking for. With him, we actually do have quite a few things that we look at. Obviously, he's got a very unique wave count where he's counting the waves based on a moving average. I'll show you kind of how the wave counts look in MetaStock in just a second. But based on how far you are into like a trend, is going to determine what kind of patterns are going to exist for you. So for example, the first retrace after the cross long is going to be a new trend, whereas a reversion to the mean might happen later in. Or if you're looking for a reversal around your 7th wave or your 9th wave, those are what's going to show up. So he's looking at kind of the pattern, how long you've been in a trend, to establish what kind of opportunities are going to show up. Okay, he does have some explorations that are in there. I'm going to switch back into MetaStock real quick for it. And there are some explorations. I don't think I'm necessarily going to run these just for the sake of time. I'm going over, and I appreciate you hanging in there with me. But I can come down here, and his is called the, what is his called? I think it's called Top Dog. Top Dog. So the scans that we have for him are like dad trades, which are going to look for your dad turning up or dad turning down, long setups, rubber band trades, reversal trades, triangle trades, wave 7 and 9 reversals. So there's actually quite a few that you can run right here to do a scan. I'm going to open up the chart and really just apply one of his templates to it. So let's go ahead and open up Apple, because why not? And again, I'm going to change it to daily. I was going to do that last time. And I'm going to actually apply his template. I'm not sure what system I've got on here. It was probably from the workshop I did. But I'm going to go ahead and apply his daily template just to kind of give you an idea of how it looks. Okay, so here we've got the different wave counts. This is a 1 wave up, 1 wave the top, 2nd wave, 3rd wave, 4th wave, a failed 5th wave, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You'll see different opportunities. Here is a sell opportunity, different arrows that exist on the chart when any of those trades actually come in. You'll notice we're also looking for divergences between price and this indicator here, and he also uses his momentum indicator down here. With this particular add-on, I'm just going to kind of come into this buy signal that came in on signal number 2 here, and I'm going to kind of pop it into scale here. Let's go ahead and kind of zoom in a little bit here, and I'll kind of give you an idea of how we get some, just making it worse. Let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Pop it back in. Okay, let me zoom out all the way real quick. So here we've got the Fibonacci levels. These are Fib levels that are coming in. These are the cycle markers that are coming in. Here we had a sell signal just right here. So with this commentary, what we've done is I'm going to go ahead and load this up, dock it off to the side here. I can dock it to either side. But right here we would have had a sell signal, so I'll go ahead and click on that day. And you'll notice it doesn't really say too much until there's a signal. Here we had a first retrace after the cross short. It's giving us our initial entry price, 108.80, with an initial stop of 113. And if you're doing Forex, it tells you how to subtract the spread from your entry price. It's also giving you the targets, your first cycle low, your second cycle low, or a trailing stop of your choice. Now, if we wanted to kind of get more information about this first retrace after the cross short, I can click on this. It's actually going to open up a help file for you. It's going to tell you, okay, this is the first retrace after a cross is identified. The confirmation to make the setup tradable is this. Here's your entry. Here's your initial stop. Here's your targets. Here's other things that you can look at to increase your probability of success. So again, if you're looking at 15 signals and you want to kind of figure out which one's the best, these are the different things you'd look at in the setups. It says right here, this trade is not set up considered high probability because the trend has not yet been established. The trade-off for taking a lower probability setup is that it will usually get you in earlier at a higher price than if you wait for the trend to be confirmed. So it's giving you a lot of pretty good advice on if this is the right pattern for you as well. So let me go ahead and close that down here. And of course, with this one too, you can go in and run the explorations for the setups, and it's very full-on customized program as part of it. James asked a question, how much is the Chuck Hughes add-on? Well, I'm glad you asked that, James. Let's go ahead and go here to the PowerPoint, because that'll actually kind of lead right into what we're talking about here. So this is kind of the patterns that you're looking at. You see the initial entries and the stops. I love the ability to kind of really define things for you in the MetaStock add-ons. The cost for this one's $4.99. It's $4.49 if you're a Summit attendee. I'm going to have a list of the retail prices of all the add-ons that we talked about today. I'll just go. So we talked about Bigalow, Bollinger, and hopefully we kind of, these are the add-ons that we've talked about today. Now, here are their normal prices. So $3.99 for Candle Profit System. The Chuck Hughes one is $4.99. Those are one-time prices. And they do come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can buy them. If you don't like them, you can send them back. The Summit offer that we're having is if you just buy one, we'll give you $50 off. If you buy two, we'll give you $75 off. If you want to, we also have a Trader's Action Pack. If you want to buy all of these would cost about $2,700 with a subscription to MetaStock Pro. What we're doing is we're going to basically give you a bundle package for all of them. If you pay $2,700, if you bought them off of our website, but if you want to call in, you can get all of them for $15.95. That also includes 60 days access to MetaStock Pro. It includes a money-back guarantee. It includes a 2-year subscription to Stocks and Commodities magazine. And with that package, you need to order it through one of our guys. So you can call 800-882-3040. So we call it the Summit Action Package, but it definitely includes some of the best add-ons that we've got. If you already own MetaStock, we're just kind of throwing in MetaStock as a freebie. But if you already own MetaStock, let me think here. We'll figure out a way to get that to you for $13.95. Just tell them I said so. Tell them to come ask me about it when you call in. James asked me, do you have a time to display a Chuck Hughes chart with his add-on attached? Sure. You know what? We can spend... let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and go to the Expert Advisor. I'm going to do the basic one this time. And then while that's loading up, let's go ahead and go back in here. And there's a couple things that I want to talk about as well. So the action price on that is $15.95. 800-882-3040. Tell them you're kind of calling about the action pack, and they'll get everything set up for you. Just for coming to the summit and registering, which I know you all did, you're going to get a free copy of Stocks and Commodities magazine. If you spend more than $300 on a MetaStock add-on, you get a 2-year subscription, and if you buy anything, you're going to get a 5-month subscription. So we love Stocks and Commodities. They've been great sponsors for all of our summits so far, and I hope they continue to sponsor them. It's a great magazine, and I like it a lot. If you're not really convinced on the action pack, but you really like kind of the idea of being able to test trading ideas, run scans, that kind of stuff, you can either do a free trial for MetaStock at metastock.com/tradersummit-t, and you can also do a 3-for-1 where you buy 1 month of MetaStock and get 2 additional months, and that would be the Trader Summit 3-for-1 link. Okay. Bill asked a good question. What are the office hours for ordering? I think, let me go, actually I'm going to just put you on hold for a second and just see if we've got guys here. I just have to look out into the other room. It's usually 8 to 5, but I'll look. Okay. Okay. I did check, Bill. We have somebody here. Jordan is here. He's waiting for you. And it's actually mountain time. So I would call right away. And unfortunately, James, I'm really sorry. I think I need to reinstall Hughes. I'm just not having too good of luck with it right now. I think I need to reinstall it. I've had some issues today with, I think I've kind of broken my MetaStock a little bit because I kind of develop in it, and I can't show it to you. But we can send you some screenshots. James, I'll make sure those get sent off to you. Okay? Cool. So here's the prices again. The action pack could cost you about $1,300 if you have MetaStock already, and just we'll figure out a way to make that work for you. Thanks, Peter. I appreciate your comment. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate it. The summit was awesome, is what I hear. I wish I could have been there. I was traveling for San Francisco that week, or for that day. So we had a really good class in San Francisco, though. So really appreciate it, guys. I will see you at the next event. Okay?